resistance, Hamas's role and the Palestinian resistance, why rockets as opposed to more nonviolent methods, whether that would work. And also to address what some of the Israeli arguments, or I've heard, that Hamas has taken cement and used it in tunnels, and that it has hidden itself and fired from areas of where civilians are, houses and shelters and so forth.
So I want to actually jump to that the second question first, then go back to the first. But so Hamas, so their story is not even adding up. So Hamas built tunnels; they're hiding themselves, hiding up in the tunnels. So we are going to kill the civilians instead. So if they're hiding in the tunnels underground, why are you targeting the houses of the civilians and the hospitals and the ambulances and the cars and the motorbikes and the huts and the restaurants and the cafes? If they're underground, why are you bombing the civilians when you know that Hamas is underground? So you can argue that Hamas is building these tunnels underground to defend the civilians, to not give Israel any excuse to attack the civilians. They're saying, we're not here, why are you bombing the civilians? So you can look at it as Gaza is very densely populated, and wherever they go, it's going to be possibly close to civilian centers. So they decide, we're going underground. So why are you bombing above ground? That's a question to contemplate and to consider. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here, but so Hamas has actually in this war, and it's not, let's be clear, it's not only Hamas, it's the Palestinian resistance. All Palestinian factions have been involved in this, and they are fighting against Israeli occupation. The right to resist an occupation is guaranteed by international laws and conventions.
That's right.
If the Mexicans or the Canadians or the Chinese or the Russians invaded the U.S., we're not going to sit here and watch them kill our kids. We're going to do whatever is necessary to fight back. And as for the nonviolent resistance, it's also, it's there, but how can in Gaza, you're locked in the ghetto, you're totally locked out, with people shooting at you at will whenever they feel like it, from the sea, from the land, from the air, almost every day, and you cannot even see them or touch them. How are you going to resist non-violently against them? Are you going to protest against them? They're not. They're not even going to see you. You're going to go on strike? They don't care. Especially in Gaza, it's really hard. But then in the West Bank, you see nonviolent resistance every day. You see demonstrations, weekly demonstrations in villages that the apartheid wall is taking and is dividing. And they're faced with tear gas, rubber-coated bullets, and live ammunition. People get wounded every week in the West Bank going into nonviolent demonstrations. Israel is going after also nonviolent resistance because it's hurting, so that they're labeling BDS as anti-Semitism. If you boycott Israel, you're an anti-Semite. If you criticize Israel for killing children, you're an anti-Semite. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? And all the Palestinian people saying is, let us live in peace. Live and let live. Is that too much to ask? Just one little thing on the tunnels. That first of all, most of the tunnels in Gaza used to be commercial tunnels to allow people and goods and services to go through into Gaza. And there was actually a bureau of tunnels at first that regulated and taxed everything that comes in and out through the tunnels, because that was the lifeline of Gaza. Everything came from live cattle to cars, came through the tunnels. And then there were the resistance tunnels separately, and they were set separately, and they were away from the civilians. We were going underground, so I was actually watching a translation of a talk show on Israeli TV the other day, and they were saying, the commentators or the analysts were saying, the Air Force is complaining. They are saying, we don't have any targets on above ground. They're all disappeared in the tunnels on their ground. What should we do? And then the other guy said, well, what to do? Maybe we can tell them, Yalla Hamas, come on guys, come up, come on the ground so we can kill you. So, and one last thing on this question. I was talking with my sister. She had a moment of zen the other day. She was being philosophical, like 3-4 days ago, and she said, well, next time they want to go after the tunnels have openings outside of Gaza, so why don't they shut down the tunnels from those openings, destroy the tunnels from those openings, and save yourself the hassle and save yourself the trouble? Why didn't they do that if it is about the tunnels?
It's not what they want to do.
And as for the rockets, the Palestinians is stuck to primarily fighting military, and they would get in fights with the military, they kill military, and Israel would respond by shelling entire neighborhoods randomly. And they have admitted that we would shell the neighborhoods to reduce the fire on our troops. 3 Israeli civilians, or 3 civilians were killed on the Israeli side. One was a foreign worker, another was a Bedouin citizen of the state of Israel, and he was killed because Israel, as a state policy, decided that no shelters or sirens will be built in Bedouin or Arab areas. State policy. And the third person who was killed is a civilian who came to a military base and was bringing chocolate and dessert and food for the soldiers to cheer them up and tell them way to go. And he was killed inside the military base. So who is killing civilians and who is randomly targeting civilians?